Hey everyone, I'm Jason Bime and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Sounds Like Bimes. I had spent a few hours recording and editing what I intended to be my first video, and toward the end of that editing process, I started to realize that I was making some assumptions and I kind of caught myself because my purpose with this channel is to really start at the very basics, trying to see it through the lens of someone who wants to learn how to play but knows nothing about the guitar whatsoever other than it looks cool, right? So I scrapped that and I'm going to go back and start at the very basics. And I thought it might even be good to start just with the construction of the guitar and how the guitar works, how we generate sound on it, where we put our fingers to fret a note, things like that, that I was kind of taking for granted that people knew. Um, but I've since realized maybe they don't. But I want to break that down and simplify it because I know people are intimidated. They want to play, they just don't know where to start. So I'm going to grab my guitars and we'll start talking about it. See you soon. So here we are. I have a little small scale acoustic guitar here that I'm currently teaching a class at my school, and this is the guitar that we're using. All the students got the same one. It's small scale, but it's in the same tuning as a standard guitar. It's just smaller for little hands. But the same rules apply as far as how it's constructed and how it works. We have 6 strings. We have E, A, D, G, B, E. You'll notice there are 2 E strings. These are strings, but they're also notes. If I say the E string, if you play this string, you're also playing the note E, and you're playing the note E if you hit that string as well. It's just a higher octave. We'll get into all that, but that can throw people as they say, well, why are the strings called letter names? Is that the note as well, or does that just apply to the name of that string? That's also the note as well. And we'll talk about how we move chords around the neck and where we find different notes in future videos. But yeah, there are 2 points of contact with these open strings. This is the bridge assembly here, this whole piece. Part of that bridge assembly is the saddle, which is this little white guy right here. And you can see the strings are resting on that saddle. There are tiny grooves in that saddle where each of the strings goes. They're very precision made for that reason. The spacing has to be correct in between the strings. At the other end, down by the headstock, we have the nut, which is this piece right here. This is the headstock here. It's got the tuning pegs where you run the strings through, and you turn these little keys to make the string sharp or flat till you get where you need to go. But in its natural state, not touching it at all, these are the 2 points of contact. You got the saddle and you have the nut. Okay, now the strings run this way, obviously. The higher we go up the string this way, fretting these notes, the higher the note is. That is the lowest note possible on this guitar. That's low E. This note right here would be the highest note on the guitar because it's the highest fret, the highest string played on the highest fret. You'll notice, and this is another thing that, a newbie might not know, is when I say fret a note, you might think, well, if I say play the E string on the 3rd fret, the low E. So finding the 3rd fret's easy enough, 1, 2, 3. But where exactly do we put our finger? Do we put our finger on top of the fret? Do we put it on this side or that side? So you actually fret the note just behind the fret, because if you think about it, we want the string to contact the fret right here. And then the other point of contact remains the saddle down here, right? So if we're fretting at the 3rd fret, you're playing just behind the fret. So you're actually playing, your target is always going to be kind of the space between the fret that you're going for and the fret behind it, okay? That's one thing that people kind of struggle with at first. Where exactly do I put my fingers? If you put your finger right on top of the fret, you're going to get kind of a buzzy sound. So to really fret the note well and cleanly, you want to play right behind the fret like so. okay? This is just an old style dreadnought guitar, they call it. And the sound is produced by when we pick or strum over the sound hole here, all that sound is created from echoing in the body of the guitar, right? That's what the back and the sides are for. And the bigger the body of the guitar, the louder and richer the sound can be. So I'll show you on my electric, when we string the guitar, on my electric, the strings actually come through the back of the body. There are holes in the back and they come up through the bridge. On acoustics, a lot of times, the end of the string just has a ball on it, it's just a small steel ball that the string is wrapped around. That ball goes down, this peg comes out of here, these pegs come out, and there's a hole, and you just put the ball of the string down in this hole, press the peg down on it until it catches tight, and then you run it through the tuning peg down here on this end, and you adjust it with this tuning key until you get it to where you want. I'll do a future video on tuning the guitar, and we'll talk about A440 standard tuning and all that stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to go over a few highlights of the construction. Like I said, you got strings and you got frets basically. And the combination of where we fret these notes between the strings and the frets, that's how we play the guitar. So we have single note playing, and then we have chords, which are 2 or more notes at a time. To simplify things, that's kind of the long and short of it. So let me grab my electric and I'll show you a few things on that as well. So this is one of my electrics. This is my old friend that I purchased brand new in 1990. I immediately replaced the neck, so I don't know the original serial number to find out exactly when and where it was made. But this is a Telecaster design, pretty famous body design that Fender is known for patenting way back in the day. And unlike my acoustic, you'll see these guys that are in the body of the guitar. These are called pickups because they pick up the strings vibrating. Then that's transferred out through a cable into an amplifier. But yeah, same rules apply. You got the nut here. These saddles are steel down here. You see the bridge is just this one piece here. Stringing in electric is a little different. On this model anyway, you'll see the strings go through the body and you run them up through these holes here in the saddles, and then they go down and into the tuning pegs this way. These saddles, you'll notice here, these little screws in the back, these adjust the saddle backward and forward, and then these little screws on the top adjust the saddle up and down. This is how we set the intonation of the guitar, which is the guitar's ability to stay in tune. You have to get the string length and height just right. Now you got to get the nut and the saddles to kind of jive to get the intonation correct. That's a different topic, but just as an overview, this guy here is the pickup selector switch. If it's up in this position, it's only that pickup. If it's in the middle, it's both pickups. Back here is just the bridge pickup. We call this the bridge pickup because the bridge, it's adjacent to the bridge. This is a neck pickup. Some guitars also have a third pickup in the middle here. This one does not. Tellies usually don't. This is a little custom design piece for this guitar. It's a little kill switch. So if it's switched in this position, the bridge pickup is working. I can cut that bridge pickup off by switching that switch up here. So you could get like stutter effects. If I had only the bridge pickup on, hit a chord and kind of toggle that, it would tut, it would cut in and out when I toggled off of it. This is volume knob, this is a tone knob. Okay, so that affects the overall tone as well. So that's the highs and lows with an electric as far as the components and how they affect the overall tone of the guitar. They're basically the same. But there's so many varieties and pickup configurations and types of pickups. It's a lot to get into, but that's not the purpose of this video. So yeah, guys, that's basically what I wanted to cover in this first video. I do know from talking to students over the years that people are a little thrown as to just very basic technique things like I covered, like where to fret a note, you know, to get the optimal tone. Again, like on top of the fret, you're going to get that buzz. And some people go, well, you told me 4th fret. That's, in my mind, that means right on top of the 4th fret. So that's why I wanted to talk about a few of those things. You don't know what you don't know, right? And there are no stupid questions, things that are obvious to one person. People don't know that don't have experience with it. So I want it to be accessible to people who are curious, but they are intimidated. They're not sure how to approach playing. Where do I start? So I wanted to give some very basic information in my first video. I want people to be able to join in and start following along, and that's why I'm going to be really explaining the basics here. I hope you found something useful. We're going to start talking about left hand and right hand next time. In my next vid, I'm going to give you a very simple exercise that we're just going to start fretting notes with our index finger, our first finger. I call it odds and evens. It's going to get us moving around the fretboard. We'll talk about the position markers and why those position markers exist and the notes underneath them. We're going to get going on the E string next time. So I hope you guys join me and we learn to play together. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.